Ministry of Amerindian Affairs expresses condolences on passing of staff member. The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, led by Minister Honorable Sarah Brown-Shadiq, has extended heartfelt condolences to the family, loved ones, colleagues, and friends of Marie Henry, a valued staff member from Guyana, Maruca, Region 1, who recently passed away. The ministry has expressed deep sorrow over the loss, emphasizing that Henry's dedication, humility, and genuine commitment left a lasting impact on her colleagues. Her warm spirit, professionalism, and willingness to serve will be fondly remembered by all who had the privilege of working alongside her. During this time of profound sorrow, we stand in sympathy with her family and loved ones, praying they find comfort and strength in the cherished memories she leaves behind. May her soul rest in eternal peace, stated the ministry in a public message. Henry's contributions to the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs have been acknowledged as significant, and her absence will be deeply felt across the organization. The ministry aims to honor her legacy by continuing its vital work in the community. Don Singh elected new president of Georgetown Cricket Club. Don Singh, a councillor on the Georgetown Mayor and City Council, has been elected as the new president of the Georgetown Cricket Club, GCC, during the club's biennial general meeting on Monday evening. Singh's victory comes after he secured 47 votes against incumbent Jonathan Yearwood, who garnered 17 votes in the secret ballot held at the club's main pavilion. Yearwood, who was elected as president in December 2023, will now step aside as Singh takes the helm of the prestigious cricket club. The election also saw Graham Alley re-elected as vice president, while Timothy Bagwandan takes on the role of secretary. Gavin Ramsunder will continue in his role as treasurer, and Kemraj Jaikaran remains club captain. Additionally, Richard Cansonley, Leon Johnson, and Kian Howard were elected as committee members, with this being a first-term role for Johnson and Howard. Cansonley retains his position on the committee from previous years. Colin Class, former president of the Guyana Football Federation, served as the returning officer for the election. The GCC continues to play a vital role in promoting cricket in Guyana, and Singh's leadership is anticipated to steer the club towards further growth and success in the sport. High Court rules in favor of Vincent Alexander, DPI and Attorney General to pay $10 million. High Court Judge Fidela Corbin Lincoln has ordered the Department of Public Information, DPI, and the Attorney General to pay $10 million to Vincent Alexander, chairman of the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana, IDPADG, due to defamatory statements made by Vice President Barrett Jagdeo and published by DPI in 2022. The court ruled that while Mr. Jagdeo was not held liable for his comments, which were deemed to be made under qualified privilege, he failed to prove that his statements about Mr. Alexander were substantially true or fair. During a press conference, Mr. Jagdeo accused Mr. Alexander of having a financial stake in IDPADG, the organization that has reportedly received significant government funding. He suggested that Alexander and others were exploiting these funds at the expense of Afro-Guyanese communities. Mr. Alexander challenged these allegations in court, arguing that the remarks were damaging to his reputation and sought their removal from public access. In her decision, Judge Corbin Lincoln stated that naming Mr. Alexander alongside others benefiting from government subvention could indeed be defamatory. She explained that the remarks implied dishonesty on Alexander's part, suggesting he falsely aligned himself with Afro-Guyanese interests for personal gain. Moreover, the judge emphasized that the statements painted Alexander as unscrupulous and engaged in unethical behavior. Having considered the words complained of, I find that they are capable of the meanings alleged, implying that the claimant is dishonest, lacks integrity, and is using public funds for personal benefit, Judge Corbin Lincoln asserted. She further noted that such statements could lower Mr. Alexander's standing in the eyes of the community. In addition to the $10 million awarded to Mr. Alexander, Justice Corbin Lincoln directed DPI to remove the controversial interview by the end of the year and to pay $500,000 in legal costs to Alexander. Conversely, Mr. Alexander is required to pay Mr. Jagdeo $350,000 in costs related to the case. The ruling underscores the legal risks of public statements that may harm individuals' reputations, especially when financing and community interests are involved. Contractor charged with obtaining by false pretense. Vidyanand, a 43-year-old contractor from Ogle Railway Embankment, East Coast Demerara, has been charged with obtaining by false pretense, contrary to Section 194 of the Criminal Law, Offenses Act, Chapter 801. Dat's arrest occurred on October 16, 2025, and he was formally charged on January 9, 2026, in relation to an incident involving 57-year-old Siodat Muti of Montrose North, East Coast Demerara, which took place in August 2025. During his appearance at the Sparendam Magistrates Court No. 2 on January 9th, Magistrate Abigail Gibbs read the charge to Dat. Initially, he pleaded guilty with an explanation. However, after providing his explanation, a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. Dat was granted bail in the amount of $200,000, and the case has been adjourned to March 4, 2026, for further proceedings. Businessman arrested for firearm and ammunition offenses. Diadnoth Lal, a 23-year-old businessman from Airy Hall Village, Essequibo Coast, has been charged with possession of a firearm without a license and unlawful possession of ammunition without a license. These charges are in violation of Section 16(2)(a) of the Firearm Act, Chapter 1605. Lal was arrested on January 9, 2026, following the discovery of a firearm and ammunition at 105 kilometers Buckhall Road, Essequibo River. He appeared today, January 12, 2026, at the Bartica Magistrates Court, where Magistrate Tariq Mohammed read the charges to him. Lal pleaded not guilty to both charges and has been remanded to prison pending further proceedings. The case has been adjourned to February 6, 2026, for further hearing. Magistrate schedules new hearing for Bradley Doggy Sampson amid disorderly behavior charge. The legal saga surrounding Bradley Doggy Sampson continues as his attorney, Jevon Cox, recently requested the dismissal of the sole remaining criminal charge against him, disorderly behavior. However, Magistrate Faith McGusty chose to transfer the case to Court 6, scheduling a new hearing for January 19th. During Friday's proceedings, Cox informed the court that full disclosure had been provided regarding the disorderly behavior charge. This charge remains the only one after 5 other allegations were withdrawn due to insufficient evidence. Cox argued for the dismissal of the disorderly behavior charge, but Magistrate McGusty declined the request, opting instead to move the matter forward for further consideration next month. The case stems from a July incident at the Square of the Revolution, also known as Cuffy Square, where Sampson was initially charged with multiple offenses linked to a heated dispute over payments for individuals mobilized for a political march organized by the We Invest in Nationhood, WIN Party. The original charges included possession of a firearm without a license, unlawful carrying of a firearm in a public place, unlawful wounding, threatening behavior, disorderly behavior, and the use of obscene language. Sampson turned himself in following a wanted bulletin and was granted bail on all counts, with the firearm-related charges attracting the highest bail amounts. However, during a prior court appearance, the prosecution announced that all charges except for disorderly behavior were being discontinued. The Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, cited insufficient evidence, particularly concerning the firearm-related allegations. Cox emphasized that no firearm was recovered during the incident or through subsequent police operations, nor was any ballistic testing conducted to identify a weapon under Guyanese law. He also contested the unlawful wounding charge, noting that the alleged victim, Janista Fordyce, failed to appear in court, and no medical certificate was submitted to confirm any injury. The incident gained attention due to a viral video showing a heated exchange between Sampson and Fordyce, but Cox argued that the footage alone does not substantiate the charges against his client. With 5 counts now discontinued and the disorderly behavior charge remaining, Friday's hearing allowed the defense to push for a complete dismissal. While that application was not granted, the transfer to Court 6 sets the stage for the upcoming hearing on January 19th. Blygezite Gardens man pleads for bail amid attempted murder charges. Enoch Watson, a resident of Blygezite Gardens charged with attempted murder of his brother-in-law, made an emotional plea for bail during a court appearance on Friday. Watson appeared virtually before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty as his case continued, having been remanded since November 14th. During the hearing, Watson requested the opportunity to address the court directly. The magistrate granted him permission, allowing Watson to express his concerns. He revealed that he had paid for previous mistakes, citing prior incarcerations. While he acknowledged he may be guilty of some allegations, he maintained that the incident involving his brother-in-law, Travis Elias, was a matter of self-defense. Watson described the altercation as escalating due to provocation, claiming, "Either he chop me or I chop him." He insisted that his actions were a response to defending himself, expressing regret that the situation had escalated to its current state. He appealed for peace and understanding within his family, wishing to be released from custody. The accused further claimed his life had been threatened while in remand, stating that another inmate had attempted to choke him the previous night. Watson urged the magistrate to grant him bail, asserting that remaining in custody poses a threat to his safety. Travis Elias, the virtual complainant, characterized Watson as disrespectful, recounting ongoing tensions between them, including disputes over a phone belonging to Elias's son. When asked by the magistrate if he was open to resolving the matter following Watson's plea for forgiveness, Elias indicated he could not consent to dismiss the case. However, he suggested that compensation might be a consideration for resolution. Magistrate McGusty clarified that discussions regarding compensation must occur outside the courtroom and advised the parties to reach a resolution before returning to court for further proceedings. The case has been adjourned to January 30th, when the court is expected to receive updates on the situation. Meanwhile, Watson remains on remand. Minister of Tourism addresses criticism from foreign vloggers. Guyana's Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Susan Rodriguez, has responded to the recent criticisms from foreign content creators, focusing on their portrayal of safety, infrastructure, and cleanliness in the country. Speaking on the Starting Point podcast, Rodriguez challenged the narratives presented by a British and a French vlogger, whom she accused of exploiting local contexts for digital engagement. Rodriguez described the vlogger's content as representative of a broader pattern of provocative behavior aimed at generating views rather than providing an unbiased evaluation of Guyana's progress. "We have seen a heavy presence of police officers at events such as the Christmas Village at Guy Expo because we want people to feel safe," Rodriguez stated. She emphasized that even in the absence of threats, visible law enforcement assures public comfort. The minister highlighted a particular incident involving the French vlogger, who filmed in front of a private residence in Sofia, where local families were gathered. "If you go in front of somebody's home and you're live with your camera, you will offend people," she asserted, suggesting that the residents' reactions were justified given the circumstances. Rodriguez was especially critical of the British vlogger's tone, describing it as imperialistic and condescending. She contrasted their portrayals with Guyana's tangible achievements in recent years. Without any appreciation of how far Guyana has come as a country, from periods of economic hardship to building viability, it misses the mark, she said. Responding to one of the vlogger's claims that Guyana receives few visitors, Rodriguez announced that the country recorded 453,489 visitor arrivals in 2025, marking a 22% increase from 2024. This figure significantly surpassed the anticipated 400,000 arrivals, indicating growing interest in Guyana as a travel destination. "So much for nobody visiting," she remarked. While acknowledging ongoing challenges such as solid waste management and urban cleanliness identified in the videos, Rodriguez stressed that these issues are societal and national, not solely tourism-related. "Solid waste management is not a tourism issue, it's a national issue," she explained, citing the government's cleanup initiatives, including support from the president. Reaffirming the government's commitment to enhancing both visitor experiences and local civic behavior, Rodriguez pushed back against what she characterized as misrepresentations by foreign influencers. "Guyana has much to offer, and our record visitor numbers show the world is noticing," she concluded. Two arrested for ecstasy trafficking in Turkey. Two individuals have been charged with trafficking in narcotics after the customs anti-narcotics unit, CANU, seized 164 grams of ecstasy during an operation on January 3, 2026. The accused, 26-year-old Devin Grant and 19-year-old Lily Wills, appeared before the Amsterdam Magistrates Court. During the proceedings, Grant pleaded guilty, while Wills entered a not guilty plea. As a result of his plea, Grant received a sentence of 12 months in prison and was fined $30,000. Wills, on the other hand, was granted bail set at $100,000. CANU reported that the duo was arrested after several bags containing the narcotic were discovered in the motorcar they were traveling in near Turkey. Following their arrest, they were taken to CANU headquarters, where the ecstasy was weighed and confirmed to be 164 grams. The case underscores ongoing efforts by law enforcement to combat drug trafficking in the region. Tragic car accident claims life of young man in quarantine. A tragic car accident on Sunday night along the number 36 public road resulted in the death of 22-year-old Lokram Etwaru, a construction worker from number 35 village. According to local resident Derek Dudnoff, he heard a loud impact around 11 p.m. and rushed outside to find that a car had collided with his parked vehicle on a bridge. The force of the crash caused the vehicle to overturn. While Dudnoff initially reported that Etwaru was a passenger in the car, family members have challenged this assertion. Witnesses indicate that the vehicle was allegedly racing another car when the driver lost control, leading to the collision. Etwaru's cousin, Sarika Sansaran, stated that he had just left a birthday party in Philippi village and was en route to drop off a friend in Bengal village when the accident occurred. She claimed that Etwaru was the driver of the car, which reportedly belonged to the friend in question. Emergency services rushed Etwaru to the Port Morant Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival. Authorities have launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the tragic accident, seeking to clarify the events that led to this heartbreaking incident. Businessman Peter Lewis denies allegations of exploiting foreign workers. Businessman Peter Lewis has categorically rejected accusations that he and his company hired Brazilian nationals and subsequently failed to pay them. He described the claims as inaccurate and misleading. In a statement on Saturday, Lewis clarified that his company contracted the Brazilian workers through a medical professional who presented herself as authorized to facilitate their entry into Guyana for employment. He explained that significant upfront payments were made to this intermediary, but the work agreement soon began to unravel. According to Lewis, the initial financial terms were set at GYD $55 million. However, after the workers arrived, their representative allegedly demanded GYD $125 million, an increase that Lewis deemed unacceptable. As negotiations broke down, no work was completed. Lewis stated that the workers were housed in a hotel provided by his company for 3 days, where hotel staff could confirm they spent most of their time. The businessman revealed that his company incurred approximately GYD $2.3 million covering the workers' travel, meals, and accommodation, despite the job for which they were brought remaining unfulfilled. Lewis noted that he had sought to formalize contracts for the workers. However, communication issues arose, as the workers continued to request additional payment through an interpreter, complicating the negotiations further. He asserted that he retains receipts for all financial transactions related to the engagement and emphasized that his company acted in good faith throughout the process. Lewis firmly rejected any insinuation that the workers were exploited or left without payment. Win welcomes call by Western diplomats for timely election of opposition leader. The We Invest in Nationhood, Win party has expressed its support for diplomatic calls from representatives of the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the European Union, urging that elections for the leader of the opposition in Guyana be conducted without further delay. Since the inauguration of the 13th Parliament in early November, following last September's elections, Speaker of the National Assembly Mansour Nadir has refrained from convening a meeting of opposition members to facilitate the election. No official reason has been provided for this inaction. British High Commissioner to Guyana, Jane Miller, emphasized the urgency of the situation, stating that an election for the leader of the opposition is crucial for enabling parliamentarians to fulfill their constitutional responsibilities to the people of Guyana. U.S. Ambassador Nicole Theriault and Canadian High Commissioner Sebastian Seguin also echoed these sentiments, asserting that a functional parliament is vital for Guyana's ongoing development. EU Ambassador Luca Pierantoni remarked that he would be surprised if the matter is not addressed during the upcoming parliamentary session in the weeks ahead. In response to these diplomatic appeals, WIN, which holds a majority in the opposition within the National Assembly, affirmed its alignment with the diplomats' views. The party argues that the government is sidestepping legitimate oversight, seeking to utilize state resources without necessary checks and balances. Azruddin Mohammed, the leader of WIN and a businessman currently embroiled in legal issues, is positioned to assume the role of leader of the opposition given his party's anticipated majority when elections are finally held. Mohammed faces an extradition request from the United States alongside his father, stemming from multiple charges related to gold exportation, including mail and wire fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. The recognition of the leader of the opposition is constitutionally mandated, with the president required to consult this leader on several significant appointments. The ongoing delay in this election raises questions about the effectiveness of the parliamentary process in Guyana. Update: fatal collision involving motorcyclist and cow. A speeding motorcyclist was killed after colliding with a cow on the New Amsterdam Road in Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine. The deceased has been identified as Winston Hines, 59, of Levi Dam, Angois Avenue, New Amsterdam. The accident occurred on Tuesday, January 6, 2026, around 1800 hours HRS on Republic Road. At the time, Hines was riding motorcycle #CP8186. Initial investigations indicate that Hines was traveling north on the Western Drive lane when he collided with a light brown cow that was also walking in the same lane at a fast rate of speed. The impact caused Hines to fall onto the roadway, sustaining injuries to his head and body. Public-spirited citizens quickly came to his aid, transporting him to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital in an unconscious state. Despite efforts from medical personnel, he was pronounced dead on arrival. His body is currently lying at the New Amsterdam Public Hospital mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem examination. Authorities are continuing their investigations into the incident. Update: fatal collision in New Amsterdam claims the life of Akeem Agard. A collision between a motorcycle and a pedal cyclist near Chetty Jugan Street in New Amsterdam, Burbus on Saturday afternoon has resulted in one fatality. The deceased has been identified as 38-year-old Akeem Agard of 39 Stanleytown, New Amsterdam. Reports indicate that the incident occurred around 13:40 when Agard was riding his bicycle and 21-year-old Kenneth Clarkston, from Lot 210 Fort Ordnance, East Cange, was heading in the same direction on motorcycle CL 5071 on the eastern side of the road. Witnesses stated that as Agard made a left turn towards the west, Clarkston attempted to overtake him, leading to a collision in the western lane. Both individuals were thrown onto the roadway, suffering various injuries. Emergency medical technicians rendered assistance to the victims, and Agard was transported to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries while receiving care. Clarkston was also taken to the hospital by the Guyana police force and is currently undergoing treatment. Due to his condition, a breathalyzer test was not administered. The police are actively investigating the incident to establish further details. Family mourns the passing of Dr. Brian O'Toole, co-founder of School of the Nations. The family of Dr. Brian O'Toole, co-founder of the School of the Nations, announced his passing on Sunday, remembering him as a well-known, much-loved, and respected figure within Guyana and beyond. In a heartfelt statement, they reflected on Dr. O'Toole's kindness, strong work ethic, and unwavering dedication to humanity. They noted his sense of humor and deep love for his faith, family, and nation, emphasizing the lasting legacy of service, mentorship, and compassion he leaves behind. Dr. O'Toole passed away on Saturday night after a brief hospitalization. He was 71 years old. His contributions to education and the community will be long remembered and cherished by those whose lives he touched.